Hi guys, it's Emma, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then hello, nice to meet you. I'm a full-time singer-songwriter musician-y type, and this is where the music happens. I have another channel on here just called Hi It's Emma, where the chaos happens. I mainly do art videos and social commentary style videos over there. If you want to check that out when you're done here, it'll be linked in the description below and on the end screen. But as I said, this is the music channel, so if you're looking for the music, you're in the right place. Up until recently, I had mostly just been doing covers and live videos and acoustic versions of my own songs, that sort of stuff on here. But I've been getting more into music production. That was what I always wanted to do, and I actually studied it at AS, but I never wound up taking it any further than that, so I wanted to revisit that by downloading Logic, because there's a free 3-month trial that you can get of Logic, so I've been using that for the past 3 months to teach myself some more about music production by re-recording one of my old covers. Twit by Hwasa was the cover I chose. You already know all that if you've seen the first 7 videos in this series though, which will be up on the screen somewhere around about now for you to go and check out. They're in a playlist on my channel, so if you want to watch the others before you watch this one, because you might be you're coming in at the end if you watch this one, because this is the final in that series now. Mostly because my free trial is about to run out, it's got like 5 days left. But also because I've basically finished the cover, I think. I might give it one more listen through and maybe tweak a few more things before I put up the final video of me. I'm just going to do a video of me lip syncing and pretending to play along to it to go with it. I think that could be quite fun. It means I get to play around with the video editor a bit more as well. But overall, I've finished the song. And I went through all the different parts of doing a basic mix on a song, from laying a guide track, to recording and acoustics, to compression and EQ, balancing, panning, reverb and delay, all of that sort of stuff. And last week I did most of the final details on the track. You know, we put reverb on all of the tracks, I added some delay and some effects with EQ to the intro part. And this week I essentially just went through and did a bit more of that sort of thing. I did 2 main things that I'm going to talk to you guys about in this video, and the rest was basically me just tweaking some levels, nothing really all that fancy, nothing really all that interesting. So the 2 major things that I've done to finish off the track that are actually interesting we will talk about was the first one. It was, as I said, I wanted to put some whooshing sounds in, but I did not put the whooshing sounds where I said I'd put the whooshing sounds. What do I mean by whooshing sounds? I mean that sort of build up of a that you often get in tracks, which more often than not, I found out off a TikTok. I think I learned this off, and it's actually been used on one of the singles that I'll be bringing out this year as well, so I did this in the studio as well. But it's actually just a reversed cymbal, and when you hit a cymbal, you get that clash as it first gets hit, and then you get that tail of the cymbal. And to get this sort of build-up whooshing sound, you just reverse it so that the tail comes first and the crash comes after, and that leads to a sound like this one. So I literally just used the cymbals I already had in the track, and I went through a few different incarnations of this. Originally I had thought that I would probably put it literally at the end of that intro part and only have one there at the end of that intro part leading in, but as I was listening back through to the intro part over and over again, it just didn't feel right to put one there. It felt like that would have been overkill. It's nice that it just falls to silence and stays to silence, and I think the whoosh would have been a bit much. I did have a go putting it in the chorus. So obviously I already had those cymbals in the chorus, pretty much following the vocal quite closely. So I first of all just tried out putting it on that first cymbal after the first crash cymbal, having the whoosh after that. Took me a while to get it in the right position. I quite liked how that sounded, so then I just put it on all of the cymbals, and I had it like that for a while, and then I started playing around with putting it in the post-chorus as well. I played around with that loads. I tried having it on the third twit in the post-chorus, and that wasn't working. So then I tried like turning them right down, so using the automation, which we'll come back to in a sec, but using the automation to have that bit be way quieter than the chorus bit, and that worked a little bit better, but it still just sort of, it felt a bit too much, and I realised that the reason it felt too much was because they were falling at the same points where my toms were falling in the track, and I liked the toms better. So I took them all off the post-chorus. At that point, I started to really listen to the chorus bit again, and I thought it was a bit much in the chorus as well. Like, because the reason I thought I should put it in the post-chorus was because the post-chorus was sounding really anticlimactic after the chorus, because the chorus had all of these big sounds and these big whooshes in it. And I realised that what was actually the problem was that the chorus was a little bit too much, and that all those whooshes were a bit too much. So I decided to just have it on the longer crash cymbals. That worked a lot better. And then I did also put them in one other place. I put them at the end of the post-chorus section of that first post-chorus. I didn't put it at the end of the second post-chorus though, because that goes into the bridge, and it sounded weird to have a build up into the bridge because the bridge goes down rather than up. Whereas at the end of the post-chorus, it's like build, 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 and there's a nice stop. But there's no stop between the second post-chorus and the bridge. It just goes straight into the bridge from the second post-chorus, but it definitely goes down in dynamic rather than up. So having the whoosh there was a bit wrong. And then I just put one at the end of the whole song. Because everywhere it had that Northern Montagne, I wanted to have it there every time it had that. So I have delivered whooshes as promised. The other thing I said I was going to do, and that I did do, was a whole lot of automation. Now, I'll start by talking to you guys about one little thing I did with effects automation. If you want to hear more about the effects automation I've done on this so far, I talked about that in last week's video because I talked about putting delay and stuff on my lead vocal and on my guitar and my bass. I put some effects on and I've automated those effects. But I go into more detail in the previous week's video if you want to go and check that one out. But this week I did just automate that delay on the lead vocal in a different section as well, because I decided that I also wanted it to have that non montagne have a slight delay on it. So I've just turned the delay effect back up with the automation on those two at the end of the first chorus, no, at the end of the first post-chorus even, and the end of the third post-chorus. Anyway, so the other thing I did was I volume automated the entire track. So obviously last week I did automation just on effects, but the main thing that I was aware of using automation for before I even looked into any of this stuff was that you could use automation to alter the volumes of your tracks. So basically, you want to use your faders mainly to try and work out how loud things are going to be on the song as a whole, and you want to get it as close to perfect as you can with that. But obviously, there are going to be sections where a track isn't necessarily going to be loud enough because there's more in that section of the song than there is elsewhere. So like on this, the verses are pretty bare. There aren't loads of instruments trying to compete for attention in the verses, but in the choruses, there's a lot going on. So the vocal needs to be a bit louder to stand out there. So what I've done is I've actually, rather than boost the vocal in the choruses, I've actually reduced it in the verses. Not by much, it's literally just a couple of decibels. So there's a bit of a build and a difference in the choruses. There is one place I brought it down a lot more, and that is in the intro part. I did bring that down quite a bit. The other instrument I've used a lot of automation on is the drums. Because again, in those quieter verses, they were just a little bit too loud and I just wanted to bring them down a little. So I've brought down the volume in all of the verses and I brought it down an extra bit more in the bridge part because I really didn't want the drums to be too strong in the bridge part. I also used it quite a bit on my synth that I've put on. So I think I covered this in maybe the third or fourth, it might have been the fourth video I did. Whichever video I added electric guitar in, I also added this synth on. And I just wanted a really gentle pad synth in the background that you didn't really notice was there, but you would notice if it wasn't there, because it's just sort of adding atmosphere. It needs to be quite a bit louder in the rest of the song than it was in the intro part. So I had to take it down loads in the intro part, but I didn't want to just take it down overall, so I just brought it down with the automation. And I did also bring it down a tiny bit in the verses, because it was a little bit too loud in the verses. With the clicks, I've actually automated for a different reason. It's not because they were getting overwhelmed in the chorus section or anything like that. They were at a good volume for the whole song, and I could have left them at that volume, but I didn't want to. Because in the chorus section, they were really standing out just like I wanted them to, but in the post-chorus section, which is actually just as loud as the chorus really, and has just as much competing, but I didn't want the clicks to stand out as much there. I wanted them to fade more into the background. So in the chorus, I wanted them to be more leady, and in the post-chorus, I just didn't want them to. I could maybe have just gone in and just reduced the volume of the overall, because it's MIDI, you can reduce the volume of your notes on MIDI, but that would have just taken quite a while, and it was really easy just to literally, as I was doing the automation anyway, I just turned it down with the automation. And then I actually turned it back up again in the bridge part, because I did want it to stand out a little bit more in the bridge part, but I really only wanted the clicks to be that prominent in those choruses, really. Anyway, I think that's everything. That's everything, guys. That's the track finished. As I said, there wasn't really a lot that I wound up doing to the track, especially not a lot of interesting stuff. There were a few little tweaks here and there that I've made this week, but they're boring. They're literally, I'm going to turn that up a little bit more, I'm going to bring that one down a little bit more. All of the interesting stuff is now done. And I think it sounds really good. I'm really happy with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still things I can hear in this that I'm thinking something isn't quite right there, something doesn't quite fit there. But I think that I've gotten it to a point where I'm not going to really be able to improve this song anymore. Maybe if I spent literally months just continuing to go back through and tweak things in the EQ and stuff, I could make it better still. But it's silly to do that. It's better to move on now and try with another project. This is how this one has gone. I can hear how this one sounds now. I should move on, do another project, and when I come back, I can listen to this one again and then compare them, and I can hear my improvements better then if I have something to compare it to. So I think it's better to leave this project now as is, where I've reached a point where I've managed to apply everything I've learned so far doing this one, and I'll be able to take those things and then build on them next time. I would still greatly appreciate any feedback. You might want to hold off on your feedback. I mean, if you have anything that you can hear that you think I should look at and work on when I next approach a project like this that you can hear now in the video, then feel free to comment it, but you might want to hold off on your feedback until I put out the lip singing video, because obviously you're going to get a better idea of what it sounds like then. One thing I am going to do that I'm not going to bother doing a video on, because I am just going to do a quick little job of it, is I will probably do a little bit of mastering. I'm not going to do anything major with it, because I would have to look into the whole mastering process, and that's probably a whole other skill that I can leave for a later date and learn a bit more about then. As I've only got 5 days of the free trial left, I'm not going to worry too much about it now. So, conclusions. What have I learned during this series? I've learned how to fully mix a song from scratch, because I have managed that. I've managed to fully mix a song from scratch to what I think is pretty good quality for somebody who really didn't know what they were doing, as is evidenced in video number 1. Do not watch the first video in this series, because it's basically just me not knowing what I'm doing. So I've learned the basics of how to produce a track from start to finish, and I've learned that I can do that, and I can do a pretty decent job of it. I think this sounds pretty good. I'm quite proud of myself. I've learned a lot about compression and EQ and a lot of the real basics that I do want to go in and I'm going to really focus in on more when I do recording projects in the future. I've learned that I can record at much lower volumes than I thought I needed to, and that actually I can record even lower than I normally do, and it's alright. I've learned a lot about acoustics, and I've learned about some of the things I might want to do to this room to improve it for future projects and stuff. I've learned that I've lit this video extremely badly because I have 2 shadows, because I've positioned that light terribly. Sorry about that, guys. But basically this whole thing has just pushed me to actually learn those skills, like actually downloading a free trial of Logic as opposed to just using GarageBand, which isn't terrible. GarageBand is pretty decent, but you know, it's not Logic or something like that. But actually doing that pushed me to then really look at how to use these tools better. And I know that a lot of the tools I've been using on Logic are actually tools you can use on GarageBand, and that I will, obviously, the GarageBand plugins are a lot simpler than a lot of the ones I've been using on here, and I probably won't be able to get anything near the quality that I've managed with this cover, but I definitely want to see how good I can do just with GarageBand in future. I will not be buying Logic straight away, because obviously that was something else with doing the free trial. You do a free trial of something to see if you want to buy it. And it's not because I'm not happy with the Logic or anything. I will buy Logic at some point in the future. It's mostly just budget. I might get it for my birthday. Depends on how many art supplies I want by then. I might get it for next Christmas. I may get it in between as a treat if I decide I deserve one, or if Baby Steps goes viral, then maybe I'll buy Logic, who knows. Point being, I will get it at some point in the future, because I do think it's an investment worth making for me to learn more about this and to improve this channel more, and possibly even try and get into doing more of that stuff in the industry as a whole. I don't know, maybe if I get good enough at this stuff I could do more behind the scenes in music than I currently do. But for now, I think I just want to take what I've learned these past few months and see what I can do with GarageBand. So that brings me on to future videos you may see on this channel, and that you might want to suggest any challenges you want to see me do. I think I'm definitely going to do one where I try and make a song around GarageBand loops. But I would love other ideas for GarageBand related videos you'd like to see me do. Like, do you want to just see me trying out all of the different types of compression they have on there, trying out the various EQs? Let me know what you want to see me do on GarageBand, and if there are any challenges you think I should try on that, any fun things you think could be interesting to look at, because I'm going to be doing loads of GarageBand related music production learning skills videos, stuff like that, over the next few months. Let me know what you guys want to see and leave any feedback about how you think this project has turned out on that video on Thursday when I put up the lip-synced version of the song. And if you're enjoying what I'm doing here and you want to see the next videos that come out and you want to support me, then please do hit that subscribe button, because like I said, I have a single coming out soon, and obviously there's going to be a music video and stuff for that. So if you're around for that, that would be amazing, because the more initial views and stuff all these things get, the better they perform. So it would really mean the world if you could hit that subscribe button and look out for that new music when it comes out. Please do also check me out on whichever streaming platform you use. There's a link in the description to where my EP is currently available on all of them, if you want to get a feel for what some of the music I've put out so far sounds like. And follow me on any social media that you're on, they are all linked below. There's a nice big link right at the top in the description of a links page that you might want to go and check out that has everything just all in one place for you. And that'll be a good place to go to when I start making announcements about the song, because all important links will be going there. Finally, the other big way you can support me at the moment is to join me for one of my live streams over on sessionslive.com. It's also an app. It's a live streaming platform just like things like Twitch, but it's specifically for musicians, and there are ways that you can support me on there, both by sending money in the form of tips we call love, but you can also support me on there completely for free. My profile will be linked in the description below, and if you go and join my crew, then you can complete missions, some of which you can do without spending any money, but that earn me points that can help me earn more money in the future and earn cash prizes and stuff like that. So if you want to support me, head to that link, check out one of my streams, drop in, say hi at some point. I also post little highlights videos from my streams on this channel if you want to see what they're like. Anyway, that's all for today's video, guys, and I shall see you on Thursday with a little lip-synced version of the song.
Nobody like it, y'all, sometimes I don't like it, nobody like it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Uden get it, it's so, uden get